Everyone, I will call this meeting of the Finance Committee to order. Let's see, we'll excuse Ms. Wade this afternoon. And let me just get to my agenda here. No public comment, so we'll move forward to our action items, and we'll begin with our purchasing agenda. Ms. Cribbs.
Oh, and now my screen doesn't want to move. Let's see. Oh, there we go. So to start through on our purchasing agenda, and I'll likely move a little quickly, but if you've got questions, please stop me. We've got some renewal type items throughout the district for the 24-25 school year. First one is our insurance for GROTC and our student and athletic insurance. We've got a renewal for the Synergy software maintenance agreement. One of the items, number 3, is an adjustment to our blanket order for 23-24 for some of our purchase services on custodial services as we're winding up the year, finding that we need to increase that. The Corewell Health is the program that this one that you see here is for the special education program. Well, there's one later that is our health insurance, our health aides with the Spectrum are now Corewell Health program. Dropping down to special funds out of our Imagine Learning grant, that is student licenses in Spanish for some of our bilingual programs or transitional, and I'm not using the right terminology, I know, but for our sites that have more Spanish-speaking students. Out of number 2, there is out of our Title I funds, looking to do some take-home summer reading backpacks for additional supplemental support for scholars and families. Out of Title I, 2, with our summer programming for our Loop after-school programs in convention with 21st Century, looking to hire the Y to help staff those programs as well. Under support materials, this first item is with, as part of our Title I and Title IV grants, we are required to do an allocation to our non-public schools. So one of the things with Grand Rapids Christian, when we got the additional allocation, final allocation in, I believe it was like January this year, it was very late this year, we didn't adjust the blanket amount to what their actual allocation was. So this is catching that up to their final allocation. Now, the number 2, as we're continuing with the Section 97, the security grants, one of the things we found is some of our cameras and related components need to have some upgrades done so they'll be able to run the additional software. Additional there on number 3 for some technology support items for the eSport labs, to add those in. Panorama is number 4. Again, that's a program that we've used for several years now, and that will be funded with our Title IV grant. Number 5 is that other portion of the Corewell Health agreement with the health advocacy program that puts health aides in many of our buildings. We have a Cedar Crest Dairy for our milk for the next school year on our lunch program. One of the funding things that we've done in SR3 is major replacement of library materials. We've got a couple, a handful of buildings that are still winding up. The original amount that we brought to the board was $3 million. As we're winding up, we found that we need to increase that by another $200,000 to finish those last few schools. This next item is actually kind of an interesting one. As we're doing the renovations to Innovation Central, the auditorium, we have a historic Steinway piano, I believe it is, that was there when it was built, and so wanting to restore that, and so it is functional again, and looking to do that. Down to the bond projects then, starting on some of those. Have done the process for Aberdeen to hire architectural engineering services, looking to engage Whiteman for that. Back to the Innovation Central Auditorium, we've got the audio and visual equipment and theatrical lighting systems. Looking to the Riverside Montessori program, looking for construction management services there with Chrisman. And upgraded performance audio system for Coit, also out of bond funds. So a lighter purchasing agenda, but still pretty full.
All right, thank you. Mr. Ross, any questions?
No questions. Thank you.
Rhonda, with the take-home reading backpacks, it's a pretty significant dollar amount. I know you told me about the grant funding specifically. That had to do with just a balance remaining in grant funding for this academic year. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Great.
We have carryover funds that we need to expend.
Yep. Very good. Okay. Well, with that, I will accept a motion to move this forward to the board.
So moved.
I will support. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Motion carries. We'll move on to our donations.
Okay, we have 2 donations, the first of which is the Wege Foundation. For many years, the Wege Foundation has provided support to City High Middle and the Center for Economicology, and they are able to use it in a variety of ways to support their programming there, so they're bringing that forth as their $100,000 donation to support those 2 programs.
Okay, that's great. Is that what we typically receive? Yeah, great. Okay.
Motion to accept the Wege Foundation donation.
All right, I support. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Next donation.
The next one, this is the one we talked about briefly last board or finance committee. We talked a little bit about the actual resurfacing of the tennis courts, and that being a combination of a donation as well as GRPS is having to do some of the site work as well. So got the paperwork together for the donation from the West Michigan Community Tennis to support the resurfacing of the tennis courts at both Union and Ottawa Hills.
Okay, it's wonderful.
Motion to accept the WMCT donation.
All right, and I support. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Moving on to our financial statements.
That's what I was going to say. That's after our lengthy ones. These are our May financial statements. I don't have a lot of comments to make, but as we are closing out our fiscal year, there will still be a number of adjustments and items that we're posting as they continuing to process transactions as they come in the next couple of months. So these will be the last financial statements that you'll see until you see the final audit in October. But things are tracking as I would expect through May. If there's any questions, I'll try to answer, but if not.
Any questions?
No questions from me. Thank
Okay,
you.
great. Well, that's it. So for those who follow along, typically we do have a bond construction update, but that report was given yesterday at the Ad Hoc Facilities Committee meeting. So assuming not much major has changed since then, we did decide to remove that from the committee agenda today, and I will report on those updates at the next board meeting. Okay, well with that, we are adjourned. Thanks, everyone.